After studying this module, you will be able to learn what is meant by population moments and sample moments. You would also learn how to use the method of moments to derive point estimators for unknown parameters. We would also try to learn about the principle of maximum likelihood. Then we will proceed to learn how to use the principle of maximum likelihood to derive point estimators of the parameters. And in the end, we would try to obtain the maximum likelihood estimator of a function of parameters. Estimation of population parameters is a very useful tool when true parameter values are unknown. A population census would yield the data required for calculating the parameter value or characteristics of the population that is of interest to us. In the absence of census data, a representative sample which can be taken from that population can be or could be used to arrive at an estimate of the unknown parameter. So if we don't have the population, we can draw a sample, and from that sample we can try to find out an estimate of the unknown population parameter. That is the crux of this point. We can also have an estimator which is of some function of the sample observations, and estimation can be done for a single population or even for more than one population. We will also see that how the principles of estimating parameters of a single population can be extended to estimating parameters of interest for two or more populations, like sum of population means, by using the rule of mathematical expectation. I am sure you are all familiar with that rule of mathematical expectation. Let us understand the principle of unbiased estimation. What is unbiased estimation? So let me repeat, when the minimum variance unbiased estimator or the most efficient estimator for a parameter is known, then that can be used. So available estimators can be compared, and the unbiased estimator is selected, which could be theta hat, and theta hat is said to be an unbiased estimator of theta if expected value of theta hat is equal to theta. When more than one unbiased estimator exists, then the one among them with the minimum variance is selected. In the absence of any unbiased estimator, we can select a consistent estimator, which means an estimator which tends to be unbiased as sample size increases. And this method of selecting the best requires that we know what are the possible estimators. However, in situations where such information does not exist, we need some alternative methods to arrive at a formula that can be used as an estimator. And the two alternative methods help us to arrive at a statistics, which can then be used to estimate the parameter of interest.
We will discuss two alternative methods that can be used to derive estimators for the parameters. The two methods are distinguished by not only the techniques used, but also the assumptions made. These are the methods of moments and the method of maximum likelihood estimation. Method of moments can be seen through population moments and sample moments, and moments method of estimation. On the other hand, method of maximum likelihood estimation can be classified as the principle of maximum likelihood, the likelihood function, the maximum likelihood method, and the invariance principle. Moments can be defined for both the population and the sample. Let us first understand what is meant by moments before learning how this concept is used in deriving the required estimators. First, we will discuss population moments and sample moments. If the population distribution is known, then we have the probability of occurrence of each population unit. The kth moment of the population about any arbitrary value A is defined as expected value of x minus A whole raised to the power k, where k can take values from 1, 2, 3, any number. If it is a discrete distribution with the probability mass function Px, then the kth moment is summation of xi minus a raised to the power k into Pxi. Summation is over I, where Pxi is the probability that the random variable x has the value xi. Let me clarify, the variable is capital X and a particular value is small xi. In case the population is of a continuous variable with a probability density function fx, then the kth population moment is integral over I of xi minus a raised to the power k into fx dx. If a is equal to mu, the mean of the population, then the kth central moment is obtained and is denoted by mu k, which is written to be equal to expected value of x minus mu whole raised to power k. When a is not equal to mu, we have non-central moments denoted by mu k prime. A special type of non-central moments are moments about the origin, where a is equal to 0. The kth moment of the population when taken about the origin is defined as expected value of x raised to the power k. So we have three different kinds of moments: around arbitrary origin A, around origin 0, and around mean mu. So it may be noted that the first central moment must always be 0, and the second central moment gives us the variance of the population distribution. The third and the fourth central moments are the absolute measures of skewness and kurtosis, which is nothing but pickedness of the distribution. For a symmetric distribution, the third central moment is 0. It is negative for a distribution skewed to the left and positive for a positively skewed distribution or distribution skewed to the right. Also, the first moment about the origin is the mean of the distribution. Sample moments are similarly both central and non-central moments, including moments about the origin. The kth sample moment about the arbitrary value a is given by mk prime equal to summation xi minus a whole raised to power k, summation is over I, divided by small n, where this small n is the sample size and k is equal to 1, 2, 3, so on. The kth sample moment about the sample mean when a is equal to x bar is the kth central moment, defined as mk is equal to summation xi minus x bar whole raised to power k, and summation is over I divided by n. And the kth moment about the origin is defined as mk prime is equal to summation over I of xi raised to power k divided by n. Here too, the first central moment is always 0 and the second moment about 0 is the sample mean. Next, we will discuss moments method of estimation. The probability distribution of the population, whether it is a discrete distribution with probability mass function Px, or it is a continuous distribution with probability density function Fx, the probability mass function or PDF is a function of the population parameters. For example, the PMF or population mass function of a binomial distribution is a function of its parameters n, the number of independent trials of the experiment, and p, the probability of success. The differences in the values of these parameters distinguish one binomial distribution from another. Similarly, the PDF of a normal distribution is a function of the mean and the standard deviation of the population. Again, different normal distributions are differentiated by the values of the parameters. In calculation of moments, both central and non-central, we use the probability distribution. So not only the probability distributions, but also the moments are functions of the population parameters. We use this property in the method of moments to derive the moment estimators of the population parameters. In the moments method, we use the moments about the origin, that is expected value of x raised to power k. Now let x1, x2, x3 up to xn be a random sample of size n drawn from this population. Students, please remember this is small n, which is the size of the sample. Next, we obtain the first R sample moments, which could be defined as summation over I of xi raised to power k divided by n for k equal to 1, 2, 3 up to R. Next step is to set up a system of R equations by equating the first population moment with the first sample moment, the second population moment with the second sample moment, and so on. By equating each of the R population moments with the corresponding sample moments, we have R equations as functions of the R unknown parameters. Now, since each of the population moments are functions of the R parameters, solving the system of R equations, we obtain expected value of x raised to power k equal to summation of xi raised to power k divided by n for k equal to 1 to r, and this gives us the estimators theta 1 hat, theta 2 hat, theta 3 hat up to theta r hat. Explaining it with the help of an example. The probability mass function has only one unknown parameter, the mean of the population lambda. We need only one equation to obtain the estimator lambda hat. Equating the population moment with the first sample moment, we get expected value of x is equal to summation of xi, where summation is over I, divided by n, and is equal to x bar. Therefore, lambda hat is equal to x bar, the sample mean. Implication. For any particular Poisson distribution, we can draw a random sample from that population, and the calculated value of the sample mean based on the sample observations gives us a point estimate of the parameter value. Example could be, what is the moment estimator of the parameter p of a binomial distribution if n is known? How can you obtain the moment estimators for the mean and variance of the distribution? Now students, this can be solved as the first population moment, which is expected value of x, is also the mean of the population. The first sample moment is equated to first population moment, so NP is equal to x bar. Therefore, p hat is equal to x bar by n. So in the sample, x bar would read as average number of successes, since x denotes the total number of successes in the sample. However, in any one sample, there is only one possible value of x. It cannot take different values in the same sample. Hence, x bar is equal to x, and the estimator is p hat equal to x by n, which is the proportion of success in the sample. There is also an unbiased estimator. Population mean and variance are estimated by NP hat and NP hat into 1 minus P hat, respectively, by substituting P hat equal to x by n. Next example is, the PDF of a uniform distribution is given below. which you can see on this slide. This is defined as fx given alpha and beta equal to 1 upon beta minus alpha when x is greater than or equal to alpha but less than or equal to beta and is equal to 0 otherwise. Please note that if beta is equal to 1, we find the estimator for alpha. Solving the above example as mean of the uniform distribution is mu equal to alpha plus beta by 2 and is equal to expected value of x, the first population moment. Equating with the first sample moment, alpha plus beta by 2 is equal to x bar. Substituting beta equal to 1 and rearranging the terms, we get the estimator alpha hat is equal to 2x bar minus 1. Similarly, if given alpha equal to 0, beta hat comes out to be equal to 2x bar. Another example which we discuss is derive the moment estimators for the parameters of the normal distribution. The PDF of the normal distribution is as follows. F of x with parameters mu and sigma is equal to 1 upon sigma into root 2 pi into e raised to power minus half into x minus mu upon sigma whole square. The solution to the problem is the normal distribution is characterized by two parameters, mu and sigma. We need two equations to derive the two estimators. Equating expected value of x equal to summation xi by n, which implies mu hat equal to x bar. Thus, the sample mean x bar is the estimator for the population mean mu. The second equation is that expected value of x square is equal to summation xi square upon n. Now, variance of x is equal to sigma square is equal to expected value of x square minus expected value of x whole square. So equating expected value of x square equal to summation xi square by n and then substituting on the right hand side of the definitional formula for sigma square, we obtain the estimator for variance as sigma hat square is equal to summation xi square by n minus summation xi by n whole square, which is that sigma hat therefore is equal to under root of this entire expression, which is summation xi square by n minus summation xi by n whole square. And on simplification, what we get is equal to under root of summation xi minus x bar square divided by n. Note that the moment estimator for variance sigma hat square is equal to summation of xi minus x bar whole square divided by n is not an unbiased estimator. The unbiased estimator for variance is sigma hat square equal to summation xi minus x bar whole square divided by n minus 1. So instead of n, we divide by n minus 1. In all the above examples, the form of the distribution is known as depicted by PMF for discrete distributions or the PDF for continuous distributions. It is interesting to note that even if the distribution is unknown, that means the functional form of the population distribution is not known, when the parameters to be estimated are the moments of the population, then the method of moments can be used to estimate the parameters. Similarly, even without knowledge of the functional form of the population distribution, the mean and variance of the distribution can be estimated by mu hat equal to x bar and sigma hat square equal to summation xi minus x bar whole square divided by n respectively. Next method we discuss is method of maximum likelihood estimation. For the method of maximum likelihood, knowledge of the functional form of the population is required. Let us assume that the PMF or the PDF contains the single parameter theta, which needs to be estimated by theta hat. As before, we select a random sample x1, x2, x3 up to xn of size n from the population. The property of the random sample is that all the xi's are independent and identically distributed. Under the above method, we discuss the principle of maximum likelihood estimation. The unknown parameter theta can take different possible values such as theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, etc. For different possible values of the parameter, we have different populations, all having the same form but differentiated by the parameter value. So for k such values, theta k, we have k populations. Since the sample has been obtained from only one of the possible populations, the method of maximum likelihood estimation requires that we are able to select that population which is most likely to have resulted in the given sample. This translates into calculating the probability that the sample was drawn from each of the populations. Then we select that population for which the sample probability is maximum. Once the parent population has been identified, the specific parameter is estimated. This is the principle that guides us in the search for the maximum likelihood estimator. Next we discuss is likelihood function. The likelihood of selecting a sample is the joint probability of the sample units. Since the sample is random, the sample units are independent of one another. Selection of any one population unit in the sample is not influenced by which units have been previously selected. Nor does it affect the probability of selection of subsequent units in the sample. The probability of selecting a particular sample is the joint probability of the sample units. Since these are independent units, the probability of the sample is simply the product of the individual probabilities of the sample units. In a random sample, all sample units are identically distributed. If we know how to derive the probability of a single unit, we will be able to similarly derive the probabilities of all the remaining units. Let us consider the jth sample unit, xj. Before the unit has actually been selected, the jth sample unit could be any one of the population units. Since the population has a probability distribution, each population unit is characterized by not only its value but also with the associated probability of taking on that value. Since this is true for each and every member of the population, and any one of the population units could theoretically be selected as the jth sample unit, the probability distribution of the jth sample unit is the same as that of the population. What is true of the jth sample unit is similarly true of all the other sample units. That means all sample units are identically distributed. The population probability distribution, which means the PMF or the PDF, is a function of the unknown parameter theta. Therefore, the probability distribution of the jth sample unit xj is also a function of theta. The joint probability of the sample, being a product of the probabilities of all sample units, must also be a function of theta. Let theta be equal to theta k. We can obtain the distribution of xi, where I ranges from 1 to n, conditional to this value of theta. The joint probability of the n sample observations is the product of the probabilities of x1, x2 up to xn given theta is equal to theta k. Now this exercise can be repeated for each possible assumed value of the parameter theta equal to theta k for k equal to 1 to 3. The value of the theta that maximizes the probability of the sample is the maximum likelihood estimate of theta. Now this search process can, however, be tedious and time consuming. We can instead take the help of a calculus to derive a formula for the estimator and then use the sample data to arrive at an estimate of the parameter value. The estimator so derived is the maximum likelihood estimator, and the estimate is called the maximum likelihood estimate. The joint probability distribution of sample observations as a function of theta is called the likelihood function. For a sample of size n, the likelihood function is a product of n terms, which are f as a function of x and theta for I equal to 1 to n, when the density function is f x theta. The likelihood function L of theta given x1, x2 up to xn gives the joint probability density of the sample observations. That is, the joint probability of x1, x2, xn as a function of theta. The likelihood function is maximized to obtain the theta equal to theta hat. The likelihood function therefore tells us how likely the observed sample is as a function of the possible values. Maximizing L as a function of theta given these sample values from x1 to xn gives the value of theta for which the observed sample is most likely to have been generated. Thus, maximizing the likelihood function gives the parameter value that best matches the observed data. Obtaining the MLE, however, requires the underlying distribution to be specified. Next method we discuss is the maximum likelihood estimation method. The steps involved in the maximum likelihood estimation method are as follows. First, specify the PMF or PDF of the population function or population distribution fx, where fx is assumed to contain the unknown parameter theta. Second step is select a random sample from the population of size n, small n, which will mean x1, x2 to xn. Third step is obtain the likelihood function L theta given values x1 to xn, the joint probability density of sample observations as a function of theta. The fourth step is maximize this likelihood function L given a function of theta and given it the function of theta, and x1, x2, xn are the sample values to obtain the maximum likelihood estimator of theta, that is theta hat. To simplify calculations, we use a logarithmic transformation of the likelihood function wherever required. So since log L of the function is a monotonically increasing function of L, the value of theta which maximizes L also maximizes log L and vice versa. This result is independent of whether we take log to the base 10 or take natural logs to the base e. With the following examples, let us see how we can derive the maximum likelihood estimators. The actual sample values when submitted in the formula for the estimator gives us the estimate. Let us discuss it with the help of an example. Let's take a random sample of n observations, x1 to xn, which is drawn from a normal population with sigma equal to 1. Sigma means the standard deviation equal to 1. Derive the maximum likelihood estimator of unknown mu. The above example can be solved as The PDF of a normal distribution, I'm sure you know, is fx is defined to be equal to 1 upon sigma into root 2 pi into e raised to the power minus half into x minus mu by sigma whole square. Now this is equal to 1 upon root 2 pi into e raised to power x minus mu whole square by 2 because sigma is equal to 1, which is sigma means standard deviation is equal to 1. The probability distribution of the ith sample observation is then 1 upon root 2 pi into e raised to power minus xi minus mu square divided by 2 for all values of I from 1 to small n. The likelihood function L of mu given these values from x1 to xn of the sample is now a product of n terms, one for each sample observation. Therefore, our L of mu of given x equal to x1 to xn is equal to a product of 1 upon root 2 pi into e raised to power minus xi or x1 minus mu square divided by 2 into 1 upon root 2 pi into e raised to power minus x2 minus mu to the power 2 divided by 2, so on up to 1 upon root 2 pi into e raised to power minus xn minus mu whole square divided by 2. The log likelihood function using natural logs with base e is now a sum of n terms. So if we take the log, then we have this ln L, which is log L of mu given x is equal to log of all these terms, which you can see on this screen. And therefore, what we obtain is that log L of mu given x comes out to be equal to n into ln 1 upon root 2 pi into minus summation of half into xi minus mu whole square, and this I ranges from 1 to n. Differentiating with respect to mu, we obtain derivative of ln upon derivative of mu, which is equated to be equal to 0, is equal to 0 minus half into 2 into summation xi minus mu into minus 1. Since you know that for maxima, we have to equate the first derivative equal to 0, so by equating d ln L upon derivative of mu equal to 0, what we obtain from this is that summation of xi minus mu hat is equal to 0, implying thereby that summation xi minus nu or mu hat equal to 0 gives us mu hat equal to summation xi by n and is equal to x bar. So we get mu hat. The sample mean x bar is therefore the maximum likelihood estimator of the population mean mu. The second derivative shows that the MLE is indeed maximum for mu hat equal to x bar. If you take the second derivative, we obtain the d raised to power 2 ln upon d mu square is equal to d of summation of xi minus n mu divided by d mu square, and you get minus n, which is less than 0, implying thereby that ln L and therefore the likelihood function L is maximum when mu hat is equal to x bar. Let us consider another example. A random sample of n observations x1 to xn is drawn from a normal population with mean mu and variance sigma square. Derive the maximum likelihood estimators of the unknown parameters mu and sigma square. This example is an extension of the above example. Now both parameters are unknown. The likelihood function is now a function of both parameters. To derive the estimators, we have to take partial derivatives of the log likelihood function and equate each to 0 to arrive at the maximum likelihood estimators for both parameters, mu and sigma square. Our likelihood function would now look like, which you can see on your screen, as L will be a function of mu and sigma given the sample from x1 to xn, and is a product of the individual density functions, where the first term is 1 upon sigma into root 2 pi into e raised to power minus half into x1 minus mu by sigma whole square. Now the same term is repeated till n times, and our last term therefore is 1 upon root 2 pi into sigma into e raised to power minus half into x minus mu by sigma whole square. If you take the log of this, I'm sure you can see that this entire expression will be reduced. You can see it on your on this screen also. And finally, we will get this ln L equal to n into ln 1 upon sigma plus n ln into 1 upon root 2 pi plus 1 upon sigma square into minus half summation of xi minus mu whole square. To determine the MLE estimators, mu hat and sigma square, we take the partial derivatives of this log likelihood function with respect to mu and sigma, and then equate each derivative to 0. The derivative of ln L with respect to mu gives us 1 upon sigma square into summation over I, which is xi minus mu hat. And if you equate it equal to 0, we may obtain from this that summation xi minus n mu hat is 0, implying thereby that mu hat is equal to x bar. Please remember, sigma square is not equal to 0, and therefore we can equate this to 0. Similarly, if you take the derivative of ln L with respect to sigma, what we obtain are two expressions. The first is n into 1 upon sigma into minus 1 plus 0 minus, in the bracket we have half into minus 2 into 1 by sigma cube into summation of xi minus mu square. On simplification, this comes out to be equal to minus n by sigma plus 1 upon sigma cube into summation xi minus mu whole square. Substituting the MLE of mu, which is mu hat equal to x bar, and setting the derivative equal to 0, we obtain minus n by sigma plus 1 upon sigma cube into summation xi minus mu whole square is equal to minus n by sigma plus 1 by sigma cube into summation xi minus x bar square, and is equal to 0. Multiplying through by sigma, we have 1 by sigma square into summation xi minus x bar whole square minus n equal to 0. So rearranging the terms, we obtain the MLE of population variance as sigma hat square is equal to summation of xi minus x bar whole square in a way divided by n. Now this is not an unbiased estimator. The unbiased estimator of variance is given by sigma hat square is equal to summation of xi minus x bar whole square, where summation is of I from 1 to small n, divided by n minus 1. The principle of unbiasedness and maximum likelihood yield two different estimators for sigma square. However, the MLE is asymptotically more efficient. Its small variance more than compensates for its bias. The maximum likelihood estimator of sigma square is asymptotically minimum variance unbiased estimator, also written as MVUE. In any case, the bias tends to 0 with increase in sample size. Of all estimators, the MLE has the smallest variance. Coming on to the next example. Derive the maximum likelihood estimator of population proportion P given the random sample of n observations x1, x2, x3 to xn selected from a binomial distribution. Solving the above example as the probability distribution of the binomial random variable x, the sample number of successes in this case is as follows. Fx can be written as ncx p raised to the power x into 1 minus p raised to the power n minus x. So the likelihood function is, which is L p given x equal to ncx p raised to the power x into 1 minus p raised to the power n minus x. For the binomial distribution, the likelihood function L is equal to, or L for given p and given x is equal to fx. Since there can be only one possible value of x, the number of successes in any single sample. Therefore, the joint probability function is the same as the probability function with no need of a product. Log L in that case is equal to log of ncx p raised to power x into 1 minus p raised to power n minus x. Now this is equal to log of ncx plus x log p plus n minus x log 1 minus p. Differentiating with respect to p and setting the resulting expression equal to 0, we get derivative of log L with respect to derivative of p equal to x by p minus n minus x upon 1 minus p equal to 0, implying thereby that p hat is equal to x by n. Therefore, the sample proportion is the MLE of p. It is also an unbiased estimator. If the number of parameters to be estimated is more than 2, then the procedure followed above for 2 parameters is extended for all the parameters. We would need as many partial derivatives as there are unknown parameters, and then by substitution in each expression, we can finally derive the estimators for all the parameters. In some cases, calculation does not help. The following example shows how we can derive the maximum likelihood estimator even when we cannot use calculus. Next example we discuss is for the uniform distribution fx is equal to 1 upon beta minus alpha. For x to be between greater than or equal to alpha but less than or equal to beta and 0 otherwise. Derive the maximum likelihood estimator of beta where alpha is equal to 0, the random sample of nth observation or n observations, x1 to xn, which is selected from the population. The solution to the above problem is that fx now is equal to 1 upon beta for x greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to beta, and fx is equal to 0 for x less than 0 or x greater than beta, which means if it is outside the limits. We cannot use calculus here since the parameter of interest is at a point of discontinuity in the graph for the uniform distribution. However, based on logical analysis, we can arrive at the maximum likelihood estimator for beta. So first we set up the likelihood function, which is L of beta given all these values of sample x1 to xn and is equal to 1 upon beta raised to the power n, where beta is the largest of the x values in the population. Now, this L of beta for all these sample values is greater than 0 for beta hat, which is greater than or equal to largest of the x values, and is equal to 0 otherwise. Since this likelihood function is equal to 1 upon beta raised to power n, and this increases as beta increases, we have to make beta as small as possible to maximize the likelihood function. Hence, beta hat is equal to maximum of the x1, x2 to xn. As long as this maxima of x1 to xn is less than or equal to beta, the likelihood would always be 1 upon beta raised to the power n and greater than 0. However, if beta is less than the maximum of these values x1 to xn, then the likelihood function of beta given all these values of x1 to xn is equal to 0. Therefore, the maximum likelihood estimator for beta is beta hat equal to maximum of x1, x2 to xn. This estimator is of course likely to underestimate the true value of beta if the largest population value does not get selected in the sample. As you have seen above, the maximum likelihood estimators may not be unbiased. However, this method is very popular with the statisticians because MLEs have certain efficiency properties. These are asymptotically minimum variance unbiased estimators. But this method suffers from the drawback that the form of the population must be known in advance. The last method is invariance principle. The invariance principle can be used to derive maximum likelihood estimators of functions of parameters. One such example is the maximum likelihood estimator of sigma. The standard deviation is a function of variance. Since sigma is equal to under root of sigma square, therefore sigma hat MLE is equal to the under root of sigma hat square MLE. Now this is equal to under root of sigma xi minus x bar square divided by n. An example of a function of several parameters is the function, say h, which is of a function of mu1, mu2 up to mu n, and is equal to mu1, mu2 up to mu n. Since x I bar is the MLE of the mean of ith population, which is I could be 1 to n, the MLE of sigma mu I, where I could vary from 1 to n, is summation xi bar. Again, summation is over 1 to n. The invariance principle states that if theta 1 hat, theta 2 hat up to theta m hat are maximum likelihood estimators of the parameters theta 1, theta 2, theta m, then the MLE of any function of the parameters h, which is a function of theta 1, theta 2, theta m, is the function of the maximum likelihood estimators, which are h as a function of theta 1 hat, theta 2 hat, theta m hat, where the functional form is the same for both functions.
Let us summarize what we have learned. We have learned that the principle of maximum variance unbiased estimation can be used to select the most efficient among the possible unbiased estimators. If no unbiased estimator is available, then we can opt for a consistent estimator. We have also learned that alternative to searching for unbiased estimators, we can use either the method of moments or the principle of maximum likelihood to derive the point estimators of unknown parameters. We have also learned that the method of moments requires us to equate the population moments with the corresponding sample moments, which could be set up and these sample moments which could set up as many equations as there are unknown parameters. So the population moments are functions of the parameters, and simultaneous solution of the equations results in required estimators. I am sure you can recollect that we have also learned that the method of maximum likelihood is a method in which we assume the likely values of the parameters of interest and use the sample to decide which population is most likely to have generated that sample. Calculus provides a shortcut method to derive the estimators. We have learned that. And we have seen, however, that the form of the population must necessarily be known for this method. The last thing which we have learned is the invariance principle enables us to derive the maximum likelihood estimator of a function of population parameters. So we know we can find out for the population parameters the estimators as well as for the function of population parameters.